Good. It's more of a catch-up, really, this weekend. I wanted to just check in with you guys and see, for a start, how you're getting on with Daily Life Tracker. Getting some really, really good feedback, and people are really finding that it's working with them. But I just wanted to hear from you guys, each of you, especially as there are not many of us on tonight. I just wanted to check in with you and see how you were getting on with it, and again, whether there are any tweaks that you might want. If there are, then Carl will sort them out in a flash. So yeah, how's it going down?
I'm finding that for me, because my computer is such a pain in the backside, that I'm struggling with it because it doesn't show particularly well on a mobile. My iPad works a wee bit better, but I do everything on my phone. So the fact that I can't use it on my phone really frustrates the living daylights out of me.
Right.
For me, if it's not mobile compatible, it's not useful for me.
Right.
My laptop's just not worth the hassle. I try to load it up every night to try and even just getting a website to load can take me a half an hour. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it can be a total. Just the computer just likes to crash every now and again, so it's not even worth me logging into it sometimes. So,
right.
For me, the quicker it goes mobile friendly, the better.
Okay.
Because I think I'll use it when it's something I would log into lying in my bed and just kind of tick off what I've done and fill in my all the bits I do. But the fact that I need to do it on my computer, just that holds me back.
Do you know why your computer is so slow?
Yeah, it's gubbed.
What?
It's gubbed. It's 8 years old and I think it just needs a full reboot. I think it needs wiped and starting again. So I don't even know if that'll fix it because of the age of it. So.
Have you defragged it?
It's a Mac, so it's really difficult to do anything with. I'm actually planning just taking it into the shop and just asking them, do you know what? How can I just reboot this and start from scratch? Because everything that's on it's kind of saved somewhere else anyway. So okay. I haven't used it that much because it's been so slow. So
I will message my son.
Mm-hmm.
What is the Mac? What is it?
Just the MacBook Pro.
Okay, and I'll see if he will get in touch with you and take you through it.
That would be brilliant.
So he's 10 years Apple.
Awesome. Perfect.
So that way you wouldn't even need to go into the store. Because if we can get that sorted, then you can go online.
And then it definitely makes life a bit easier.
Perfect. Okay, good. All right, cool. Elaine?
You're silent.
You're muted, Elaine. You're still muted, Elaine. You're quiet at the best of the times, Elaine, but this is ridiculous.
I was trying to unmute me on the laptop and I'm on my phone there. So, yeah, I have been using it. Not every night. I think I started using it on Wednesday nights. Went back and filled out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Used it Thursday, Friday. The day I filled in Saturday, Sunday. So I've not quite got consistent with it every night. Once I actually start doing what the wee boxes tell me to do, I'll be able to fill in a wee bit more. I worked out how to. It was annoying me to get rid of phone call for shakes in my to-do list, but I managed to get rid of that, so I'm happy. So I filled in all my customers, I filled in all my next appointments and things. So yeah, once I start doing what the boxes tell me to do, it'll be better.
and does it help? I mean, you find when you went through it, do you find that it's helping?
It's not making me do things that I should be doing, if that's the question you're asking.
But so what I'm interested in is, so what's the response when you fill it in and obviously there are some boxes which aren't lighting up?
I just move down to the next section.
Okay. Okay. All right, and you and I are still due a call, so we'll yeah. I love that raised eyebrow. God, you really are something else, Elaine. You really are. So we'll check in on it. So that's okay. And here's the thing. Look, it's whatever you will find your resistance to filling in the boxes. This is one of the things about it, is what you'll find your resistance is in general. That's the extraordinary thing. And that's why, with regards to filling it in, I mean, that was my whole thing. It's like, to begin with, oh God, and then I started doing it, and, I was just like when you drag a little child around the greengrocers going, oh, my legs are tired, and all that kind of stuff, because he just doesn't want to go to the greengrocers. That was kind of my thing about, oh, such a drag. And I clocked my whole attitude to it, and then I just let go of that, and then I got into it. So, it's there for you to use, and that is a key part of it, is that it is what begins to generate consistency because by definition, when you're doing that consistently, then you're beginning to practice consistency itself. But we'll have a chat about that. What about you two? How are you getting on?
Yeah, fine. I found when Lynn told us how to see the week view, I think that's made a huge difference.
Yeah.
So I can really see at a glance, rather than just day by day. If there's something that I've not done, I can really see, all right, I've not done it this day, but I've done it this day, and that kind of thing. I think that's really helped. And I'm getting used to putting everything into my journal and kind of keeping that up, which is quite good, because I would normally write all that down. So I found that really quite useful.
Okay.
I've not done it yesterday because I don't do that much on a Saturday, but I kind of catch up on Sunday. But yeah, I'm finding it a lot easier to use than what it was before.
And what, if any, impact is it having?
Well, it's getting to the point where, if I don't see a green box, I'm like, oh God, right, I need to get that done. So it's kind of making sure that I'm not missing things that I know I need to get done. Because I used to kind of write them all down, and I had all these different bits of paper and different notepads and all that. But I can clearly see at a glance when I go to fill it out, right, that's something that I've still not done yet. I need to get that done tomorrow. It's on my to-do list, blah, blah, blah. And then you've got my new list for the next day, kind of thing. So it's that 7-day view has made a huge difference for me.
Great.
Sure. I think that highlights the consistency of things. You see and go, that's something I'm not doing.
Yeah.
Not doing something one day is something, but it becomes 3 or 4 days.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for sure. And it just eats away, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Great.
It highlights the weakness, I think.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, correct. Lynn?
Yeah, I haven't used it much this week, actually, because I haven't really done much in anything. I've been doing too many ill kids in this house to do anything. But I am quite happy with the way it's looking just now. I've got a new list of things I want to add to it. Not too many, so there's no point in bothering Carol just yet. But yeah, it's for me though, I kind of feel like it's right, I've done that list, but it's not, at the moment, not motivating me to do any more.
Okay. All right. So I'll just make a couple of notes.
For me, it's definitely, I think since we tweaked it, it's a lot more user friendly, and it's it suits what we're doing a lot more. I think there's still a couple of things that sort of niggle at me. But what I do need to do is remove the stuff that I don't do or that isn't part of my plan, because that's quite annoying when you see red boxes and they've got no intention of turning green. So I need to actually say, right, that's not going to be part of my DMO, so take it away. A couple of things there. And so there's a couple of things there that it's just I still think we need to have a bit in for supplements just doesn't sit right, having vets. I think the supplements, I think that would serve a bigger purpose and all in terms of people going, what is the supplements? You know, like the newer people coming in to take part in it and what their vets.
I was thinking about that, Xander. I actually think if you want that, I personally would name all the supplements, which gives you even more boxes.
I guess it's too many, probably too many boxes, but see having supplements. Eh?
I would say I think it's either Fits covers them all, or you name each one and then folk go, all right, well, no, I don't do that one, I don't do that. No, well, we do them now.
Well,
so
vits are the vits, but the supplements would be your fish oils and various other things. Now, again, like I'm getting annoyed because there's stuff that I'm not going to be taking. Not, especially the new guys, aren't necessarily going to be on, or maybe not even appropriate to be on a whole load of other things. So I think where they can turn around and go to their sponsor, what are these supplements that I should say in here? Because I'm not taking it, I'm taking my vits, but what's the supplements then you've got? You can say, oh, well, and it gives a conversation. Having 100 boxes, there's 300 products we've got, so we don't need.
I mean, we've got 7 different tablets, I think.
No, quite a few more than that. And we cover a lot of different things like night works and various other things as well. So just when it says supplements, and then that can be, the person can be, that can be to suit themselves and to suit their own programme that they sort out with a sponsor. Get their heads around that. But listen, that's just one thing. For me, I probably just need to tidy up more, clear away some of the boxes I won't be using, and one or two other things that should probably be in there. But other than that, it has motivated me. I normally do it. My one thing, I should do it more regularly through the day, because I'll do it at the end of the day and go, there's not a lot of time. It has motivated me to go and do some stuff that I haven't, I need to go and do that, bang. But some of the stuff is just maybe too late to do that day. So I probably need to check in a morning, a lunchtime and an evening.
Yeah.
On that.
I do mine in the morning and the evening. So that I've just got a start of day which gets me really clear, and also if I'm doing stuff at between 6 and 8 anyway, then I've already got stuff that I can tick off, and then I go back in the evening just to wind it up. So that's part of my kind of start of day and end of day ritual, which is really cool, because and that's part of the thing. It's like, because I don't want to end the day with boxes that haven't gone blue, because then I'm just, and that's not a good way to end the day. So
I agree. What it does do is it focuses the mind. It gives you a focus to do.
Yes, for sure. Okay. So more to do with that. What I'm also intrigued with is whether you guys are still relating to the formula, the potential formula with skill, motivation, and action. And I'm wondering whether you check in with that as well, because that's something which I have that in the back of my mind, and to say it's a constant thing is an exaggeration. But I've got to say, if ever I find myself getting into a lull, I'll go in and actually check what it is that's which one of the two things are missing, because it's always going to be either motivation or action. So you've got skill, motivation, and action. And for me, that's when it enables me on an ongoing basis to kind of, constantly tighten things up. So again, are you guys looking at that and monitoring yourself with that?
Can I tell you something about that?
Yeah, sure.
That formula was worth this course on its own. That actual moment.
Wish you said that at the beginning.
That was a pure eureka moment for me, sitting down going, and just so simple.
Yeah.
Absolutely dynamite.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
I've been checking in with that a wee bit as well. Kind of on a daily basis, trying to just think like, okay, where am I at with regards to my action, probably more than anything else, because I know that kind of will increase the other two anyway. So My action's been very focused on clearing, I think, more than action as in building for this week. I felt as though I was just a wee bit, what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of bogged down with stuff, and just felt as if I just couldn't do stuff around the house because I was just moving stuff from one place to another really, and just the mess was just staying there. So I just felt as if I had to clear this week, to clear my feet a wee bit and give myself a bit of grounding for really keeping on with the business, so that I'm not procrastinating on the actions for the business by going, oh, I need to do this, or I need to do that, or I need to do, because of my house is a mess all the time. So that was my thing this week, was that was my kind of actions were more to do with that than it was to do with work actions. But now I'm in a better place for actually just getting out there and hammering it. So
cool. I'm trying to gauge where the energy is with you guys at the moment. It's really interesting because I know you're all in different places. Julia, I know you've been absolutely knocking it out of the park this week, which has been phenomenal. And the reason for it is because, you know, with regards to this, I'm now getting into the routine of repeating myself, but with regards to the things that we've now got in place, in terms of the formula, in terms of DLT, and also with regards to myself, you know, what I mean by that is you guys just kind of clearing if you're finding that you're struggling. This now needs to be just an automatic, and don't wait. Don't, you know, if you find yourself going, oh right, yeah, well I need to kind of just, you know, maybe sort it out myself or whatever, which obviously is great if you can, but if you can't, you find yourself getting stuck, then, you know, as Xander says, you know, the weeks are now ticking by, and it's like we haven't got that much time left together, because, you know, the end of November is just screaming at us. And to me, it's clearing all the time, which is absolutely key. And as I said in the week, it's really interesting. As you saw, I kind of did a post in the week, and it was a bit of a kind of a rant. It wasn't a rant, but it was just a come on, where are you going, guys? Because there's this phrase that it's not my phrase, but I can't remember the name of the guy. He coaches on money and all that kind of stuff, and he talks about how you do one thing is how you do everything. And it's an interesting thing because, you know, clearly you guys are in different phases of where you're at, and it's the reason why I pick up on, for instance, posts on the Facebook page is because if you find yourself kind of just even viewing the page with a sort of passive response, then the chances are you're going to find yourself viewing some other aspect with regards to your business with a passive response. And this is all the time about clearing that out of the way and bringing yourself to the fore. And I was listening to something, I was up in Oxford today seeing one of my sons, and I was listening to this audio book that I got. You remember me talking to you about this fella that wrote this surrender experiment? He's the guy that ended up with, you know, kind of 1,000 acres and a $7 billion company. And the first book that he wrote was something that's called The Untethered Soul. And it is just the most fantastic book. That genuinely set me on a different path. So it's called The Untethered Soul. And what this guy talks about is, so he's hugely into meditation and hugely into yoga. And I've always kind of, I've found meditation to be a challenge. I mean, to be honest, I've not had the greatest of attitude with meditation. It's just like, meditate. So what I did one time is I dived in and I actually went on a 10-day Buddhist meditation course where you get up at 5 a.m. and you're meditating all the way through. And you finish at 10 p.m., right? And there was an incident that happened that was one of the funniest things that's ever happened in my life. But you're not speaking. You don't speak. And so on day one, having never done meditation in my life, so there were about, I don't know, 30 people that were just kneeling on stools or cushions or something like that. So on day one, I was kneeling on this cushion, and everybody was just kind of just meditating, just getting into their meditation, and the chatter, you know, is what starts up. So I was, you know, kind of, there was this guy next to me who's just, you know, doing the perfect pose. So then the chatter in my head's going, yeah, look at me doing the perfect pose, just meditate. I'm all at one, I'm so spiritual, you know, just going on and on and on and on and on. And then I was kind of looking around at my left eye, anybody else, like, all day, all day, all day. And then day 2 or day 3 was, I was just there, and again it was just this noise was going on in my head. It was exactly the noise. It wasn't a little bit like I was going, is that me? Is that my breathing? And then I was going, no, that's my breathing. It's like, oh Jesus, I'm making this noise in my head. Oh God, I'm going mad. All day, you know. And what happened by the end of the 10 days was that actually I just got calmer and calmer and calmer and calmer and calmer. So by the time I got home, what I recognized was that all this stuff that goes on in our heads is just stuff. What was funny was that on the Wednesday, which is kind of when the clever money was betting that I was going to crack, I was out walking around the grounds and saw these rabbits. And I went, oh, hello, rabbits. And it was the first, I was like, oh, God. Oh. I thought this was a deliberate trick, you know, to lure me back in and say, oh, you have to start again. But apparently it wasn't. The really funny thing, by the way, was that we were all preparing food in the kitchen. All the food was grown there and whatever, and they would actually write messages and blah, blah. And there was this woman in the kitchen. I don't know if you've seen, you get those big salad bowls that you put the salad in and there's a lid on it and you turn it around. I still remember this to my day. So she was kind of struggling with whatever. So I kind of tapped on the shoulder and just helped her with it by holding her hand, whatever. And she was just going, so stopped, and then she wrote this out. I've broken my wrist. I just stood there and tears coming down my face with one of the funniest things ever. So was she, by the way. But the point of this is that this guy in the book, Michael Singer, he talks about the fact that the way that we create our lives, and a lot of this thinking is generated out of the fact that, for a start, we've all created our personalities. We've created ourselves. It's a total creation through a series of events that happens in the world, and then we choose how we're going to respond to stuff. And one of the things that he talks about is that what happens is that, you know, so say something occurs and then it hurts us, upsets us or whatever, whether it's physically, emotionally or blah, blah. And he talks about the fact that in the old days when we were hunting saber-toothed tigers and blah, 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 all of our responses to our survival was geared towards that. Now, because we have houses and food and water and all that kind of stuff is safe, that our brain has now decided that it's going to protect us from social faux pas. So it's like, you know, if we go out and, you know, we've got a chocolate stain on our T-shirt or something, or we kind of burp in public or whatever, and this voice goes, oh my God, what the hell do you think? Blah, 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 blah. So now what all of that massive defensive system is geared up to is to how socially we believe that we are being seen out there. And a whole load of our neurosis is now based on that. So if you have an emotional wound and you hang on to it, the problem with hanging on to it is that by definition you don't let it go. And because you're hanging on to it, because you're saying, right, I don't want to be hurt like this again, so I'm going to hang on to this, you know. Then by definition, because you're hanging on to it, guess what occurs? Everything which is similar to that then starts getting attracted to it. And in effect, by hanging on to it, then what you're doing is that you are building your relationship with life as a fearful one. Because you've got two choices. You can either live it and grow, or you can retract and be fearful. And the way that this guy just talks about this, I thought was absolutely stunning. And I was then thinking about it in terms of you guys, and in terms of what you do with regards to networking and how it is that you go out and you speak to people. And given our whole defensive posture, what happens is that we then say to our mind, right, okay, here's how I want life to be. I want everybody to like me or love me, preferably love me. I want everybody to say nice things to me. I want everybody that I go and talk to say yes, of course. That would be amazing. Yes, thanks very much. Where do I start? I'm going to go straight out and be a pres team. And I want everybody to, even if they don't like it, to actually say, listen, to tell you what, I'm going to buy all the products and blah, 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 because this is absolutely perfect. And we say that in all regards to life because of holding on to this here. So that what we're trying to do is that we're giving our mind instructions to say, I want you to protect me from this so that this never, ever, 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 ever happens again. And guys, I'm also talking from personal experience. You know, I kind of got into this whole thing because, you know, life was a little bit strange for me when I was growing up. And the reason why I do this is because, my God, there's been stuff that I've been holding on to. But coming back to this, I'm not at this point saying, right, go out and, well, I mean, I would recommend it. But the first thing to recognize is that, and this really occurred to me because one of the biggest reasons that I love network marketing is because it is such a vehicle for personal growth. And one of the things that I would just encourage you to become aware of is where there are certain, you know, restrictions where you're going, right, I don't want that to happen to me. I don't want that to happen to me. Whereas there's a lot of culture which is about, right, you've got to go out there, you've got to feel the burn, you've got to do this. What I'm actually talking about is whether you are actually willing to allow yourself to begin to just let go of that, to release that. And it's a very easy phrase to use. And by the way, you know, again, I've been to see therapists in my life who've just said, Joe, I just want you to be with that. You know, I'm just going, what bloody use is that? It's like, you know, so these kind of phrases about release and let go, actually how you do it is, first of all, by observing when that's happening. And quite literally taking a step back and just going, all right, and you either breathe more deeply or you kind of relax. You physically relax, because of course what happens if you're holding on to something that you're trying to defend is you start tensing up. And if you are willing to allow yourself to just have conversations with people, and this is where, as I said, this is where this could be really quite profound, to actually have conversations with people, because of course what this is about is, I don't want to feel bad, negative, blah, 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 blah. And actually get that, you know, in the old days when we had to protect ourselves against the saber-toothed tiger, are you really saying that you won't remain intact if somebody goes, no? And I think this is a really profound time if you're finding yourself stuck, rather than forcing yourself to try and get through it, to actually allow yourself to let this just go, just for the once, and then you do it again, and you do it again, and you do it again. Because quite literally what occurs, I mean, this is where I find it fascinating. In the heart, the heart actually holds energy. The heart, by the way, generates more, magnetic power than the brain does. That's why if somebody walks into the room and they're 30 feet away from you, sometimes you can really get what they're about. It's because this is what's absolutely emitting, pulsing out magnetic waves. So you can actually sense it and feel it. It's way more powerful than the brain. So to me, with regards to this, you know, this is then when when we look at, you know, some of the things that we were talking about last weekend, so when you're talking about your customers and when you're talking about actually talking to people about how's life, you know, where are you at, what's going on in your world, if you've got this, then this is the kind of thing which other people will hear or sense. And if you're allowing yourself to actually just be, you know, open and have a relaxed conversation with people, rather than one where you're going, oh my God, I've got to go in there, I've got to talk about this kind of thing, I've got them into my business, and I've got to get them onto the plan, I've got to send the plan, and I've got to do this, I've got to, before you've even walked into their house or picked up the phone, then of course all of that, because the counterpart of that is going, please don't say anything horrible to me, because you're trying to protect this thing. And this is a really, really wonderful way, you know, to not just begin to engage with conversations with people and for it not to be about your business, but for it to be a heartfelt conversation between the two of you. And it's a really lovely way whereby if you felt stuck, that you can actually gently and consistently begin to have these conversations and check in with yourself at the end of it going, okay, so how am I? Seriously, how am I? Because again, the other thing is that when you just release this, what then doesn't happen, because if you're like that, then what's happening is you're going, see, told you they didn't like me, told you I'm blah, 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 proof, evidence, you know, do not go and speak to anybody because this is horrible, it's just proving that I am who I don't want to be, and all that kind of stuff. But when you let it go, and you sit there afterwards and go, okay, so how am I doing? How did that go? You can have a more conscious and real constructive sort of assessment as to how you are and how that conversation went. And that's when you really begin giving yourself a chance. So to me, I just really wanted to spend some time with that. I don't want to do a whole lot tonight, because I'm really clear that where we're at now, this whole thing with DLT is where you're going to start getting that consistency in. And if you're finding that your motivation, because your actions will always be sponsored by your motivation, in my view. And if you're finding that your actions are down, then probably what's kicking off is that you've got a gremlin in the background going, remember me, remember me, remember me. And it's just like, oh, yeah, I remember you. And actually, you know what? You can go. So you can bring yourself into the conversation. And this is practice. This is when you start to get to a point where actually, as you let that go, guess what? You end up not being affected or impacted by it at all. The other thing that this guy talks about, by the way, and this is where it gets, because I'm really getting back into this in terms of a kind of daily practice for myself. And he just talks about the fact, he said, you know, the problem is that most people go, I shouldn't be feeling this. I shouldn't be feeling that. I shouldn't be having those feelings. No, if I'm having those feelings, that means I'm a terrible person. No, if you're having those feelings, it means you're a human being. If you're having those thoughts, it means that you're a human being. Because, guys, we all have them. We all have them. And some days, my God, you know, it's like I can get close to overwhelmed with some of these things, you know, and I start sitting here going, right, okay, so I've got to be aware of what's going on, all right? You know, and because I teach this, then I'm meant to be the guy that, you know, blah, blah, blah. And so there are absolutely times when, what do? I go out for a walk. There are times when it's like, I can't sit here and just go, okay, yeah, you know, do all that kind of stuff, all that Zen stuff. Because as you can hear, I got a really sarcastic internal voice. I mean, and I love it, by the way. Cracks me up. But God, it's scathing. And it is towards me too as well. So, you know, with regards to that, it's then, it's then, okay, what do I do? What do? I go for a walk. Why? So that I can breathe, so that I can just bring myself out of that stuff and then get back on track to what it is that I do, what it is that I love, blah, 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 blah. So that tonight is really the kind of biggest thing that I want, because I'm aware, I'm really clear you know, like I said, some of you are broken through, some of you are on the cusp. And it's not all the time about bang, bang, bang. You know, it is about genuinely more and more and more becoming aware of what it is that's going on in your thought process. And here's the other thing, by the way, the distinction is so great, because this guy talks about, and this is absolutely when you really begin to practice this stuff and get it clear, is he said, you know, most people don't even recognize that they're not their thoughts. Most people are so stuck in this thing going around and around and around that they just think that's all there is. There's a guy called Eckhart Tolle who wrote The Power of Now. And there was one sentence in that. I find myself going to sleep when I read his book, especially when I listen to his voice. But there's one sentence that he wrote, and he said, the lunatic has taken over the asylum. And that's the chat that just goes, yeah, 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 yeah. The stunning thing is that how do you know that the chatter isn't you? Because you're listening to it. So if you're listening to that conversation, who is it that's listening to that conversation? You. And when you suddenly start get clearer and clearer and clearer, that, oh my God, I'm the person that's actually kind of, so there are these thoughts, and the thoughts become things. Your domain becomes bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and that's when you get to really start to play. And I am going to be going into this, not on this course, but I am going to start actually creating a whole process which is just about that, because that's when real magic begins to appear. So yeah, that's really what I wanted to just cover tonight, you know, different to normal, but I just wanted you to begin to really, really get clear about, first of all, allowing yourself the chance to get on board with this rather than thinking that you got to force yourself to do it. And so this is absolutely the thing to kind of take away. And the key thing is always your breathing. You will notice when you're fearful, your breathing is shallow. It's narrow and it's shallow. And when you actually begin to let go, your torso, your chest, your shoulders begin to relax, and you'll find that your breathing gets deeper and deeper and deeper. You cannot be fearful if your breathing is deep. It's impossible. So yeah, that's really what I wanted to go through tonight. I know that you got a big event coming up, and with regards to that big event, it's like I'm also mindful of how that might be sitting with you. Is it like, oh my God, I've got to get people to this event. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. You know, if that's going on for you, then again, be aware of that. You know, again, part of what I got out of the conversation with Xander was really interesting, because I asked him, what was it that actually got you to step into Herbalife fully? Because Xander, to begin with, wasn't interested in Herbalife. He heard that the products were really, really good products by somebody who'd been saying, oh, and it's that network marketing thing. So, you know, I wouldn't go anywhere near it. But it was when he saw a key presentation. And one of the things for you to consider is that because of this stuff about, oh my God, all that, then that's what makes it uncomfortable often for people to then start talking about a big event. But actually, here's something. If suddenly there was an event that was going on in a week's time, and I don't know, it was some kind of rock star or whatever, whoever your favorite rock star might be, and you suddenly had tickets, your attitude to talking to people about it, I would imagine, would change. Maybe the metaphor isn't working, but you get what I mean. And the thing that I would just encourage you to think about is, A, if you're uptight about it, then be aware that that's what's going on with your conversation around this. But the second thing, without a shadow of a doubt, is that when people see this information, for some people who are in the right place and the right time, that's when they get it. And that's when suddenly they go, oh my God, I really need to take a look at this. And it's when you can allow the Herbalife kind of machinery, you know, the marketing, their expertise to actually work for you, that this is where you can have conversations and go, listen, we've got an event coming up. It's the biggest event that Scotland's ever seen. And we are specifically putting it on because we've got so much going on in Scotland, because we've got this Slim Scotland campaign. And for some people, this is really going to open their eyes to it. And I would love it if you came along. I know that you've been talking about struggling with money. I know that you've been talking about hating work or whatever the thing is. And have a serious and yet open-hearted conversation with them and say, the reason why I'm asking you to come along to this is because there are many people that come along to this, and because it's the big picture, I can't show you the big picture in the way that these people do. And because the people that are actually going to be speaking are the people that they've done it. It's like, these are the guys, this is what I'm emulating. This is where I'm working towards myself. But I would far rather that you see it from people who have actually gone and done it. And have that conversation. And guess what? They might say no. And if they say no, then it won't be because of your lack of being open or also your lack of being committed to them. And remember what I said last weekend. It's not about asking someone to marry you on the first date. It's about actually selling the thing that sells the thing. And you know, if you've got people that you know who are struggling financially, who are fed up to the back teeth with the job that they've got, or know they're going to lose their job, or want to work from home around the kids or whatever, then this is absolutely the reason to go at them. So like I said, because here's the thing, right? Xander is passionate about this thing. Sometimes what happens if you've got somebody who's going, come on guys, come on, you'll kind of go internally. because you can't emulate Xander's passion. So what I'm saying is, don't emulate Xander's passion. Step into why you love this business and speak from that place. And when you speak from that place, then, as I said, you've got access to having an authentic conversation with people. I hope that helps.
Massively. Thank you. Also, there was something else I was wanting to cover, guys. The next course, the next one of these, we've got 3 spaces available. Right, and listen, you guys know the value we're getting. I would take the shackles off. I would say, right, let's go and find some people who are looking for. Listen, we've spoke about it before. It'd be £3,500 to go and see Tony Robbins for a weekend. Right, you would not get this value. Right, it'd be an amazing day, it'd be an amazing weekend.
And he's not as good looking, so...
I thought you were talking to me again, sorry. That was sorry.
Lynn, what are you shaking your head for?
But you could...
Matthew thinks he's more good looking.
Well, of course he is, because Matthew's a ginger just like me, and everybody knows gingers are superheroes. Am I right, Matthew? You're right, buddy. You're right. So, I've actually got mine shaved off, so as not everybody knows I'm a superhero. Otherwise, I'm mobbed by beautiful women and I need to fight them off. That's what happens. Anyway, where was I? The next course, sorry. There you go.
Dripping.
See, you don't get this part at Tony Robbins. So you'd have Tony Robbins for a weekend where you'd be charged up, and come Wednesday, you're back in the grind, doing the normal. We've got 90 days here where the change in me, the change how I'm seeing things, I know for a lot of you guys, it's the exact same. It's slowly, there's a few big wow moments along the way, but it's just opening up, poof, 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 at a pace where we can handle it, where we can actually adapt to it, where we can live into change, which is the key. Not have one big shot in the arm, poof, and then everything's back to normal before you know it. At the end of this, we're going to be changed people. And there's a great opportunity for you to have change within your organisation. You know, and again, it's just going and saying to people, the same as you'd be talking about summer Scottish Spec, sorry, as Paul was saying, just saying, guys, here's what I've got from this, here's what I'm getting from it. I'm really enjoying this process, and the value is unbelievable. You know, and it genuinely is unbelievable. So,
I think just on that note, I think the other thing is to notice that sometimes, whilst even if the results at the moment aren't what you want, then notice the shifts that are occurring in yourself. And sometimes these can be subtle, but the subtle shifts are the shifts that actually sometimes you've been waiting for all your life, because rather than being, you know, battling with yourself, suddenly you're on side with yourself, and that's the beginning point. And again, just notice, you know, where other of your teammates are in relation to it, so that you can actually have a different conversation with somebody. Because what this is not about is, you know, pow and you're there. This is not about motivating you from the outside. This is about you accessing, you know, your own place, so that you then have something which is consistent and growing. So again, it's a different kind of conversation. And if you've got anybody that wants to have a conversation with me about it, then just let me know, because I'd be really happy to just talk to them, see what they get from that, so that they can then actually kind of step up if that's appropriate.
Can I just highlight two things?
Yep.
Before we wrap up, two people, not two things. I do apologise. Two people off the call. Julie and Lynn. Let me ask Julie, what you've started doing over the past week, the actions you've been taking. Do you think you would have taken those actions without this course?
No chance. No.
Now, those sort of changes that Paul's talking about, if you keep doing that for the next 12 months, where do you think your business will be in 12 months?
You know, it'll be way beyond where it is now, that's for sure. And I've got every belief in that. And I know, you know, I'm now consistent. I was never consistent before. And just what you were talking about earlier, Paul, about having that feeling about, you know, your heart's racing and you're all of a sudden, that's what I was like at the thought of taking the actions that I'm doing now. It's still baby steps, and it's still only contacting at the moment. This week I'm going out actually with the flyer and to speak to people. But I don't think I could have done that 2 months ago. Mm-hmm. In fact, I know I couldn't have. That's why my business wasn't where I wanted it to be.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, carry on.
No, you're answering Julie there.
Well, it's just really interesting. So I've got a new business which is called Undercover Entrepreneurs, which I've started up with Carl, and it may well be worth your while, you know, getting on the page, because we do live streams, and apart from anything else, they're hysterical. But that's another thing. But it was really interesting because I talked about what had happened to you. And so one of the things so Carl, you know, he's come from an accountancy financial background, wants everything in order. He's going, right, what are we going to talk about today? And I went, no idea. You know, well, okay, but we need subject matter. So have you got a subject matter? So I said, yes. I said, what is it? So it's not going to tell you. He said, why not? I said, because I don't want to talk about it now, because I want us to have a conversation, you know, live stream. Otherwise, it's going to be rehearsed. And so here's a guy that has been, Carl used to suffer from chronic shyness. And here's a guy that is now out there, and he's to do talks, he's on radio shows and all this kind of stuff. But what I wanted to talk to him about was what was going on for you, because and I responded in one of your posts about it, because here's the really interesting thing. Remember, I've said to you before that when you make a statement, life slaps you around the face first of all and goes, are you sure? And life will just chuck all of your gremlins in your face and go, remember all this? Remember how frightening this was? Because the whole point is at that point, that's when you have a choice, whether you're going to go, oh yeah, I better just retreat back so that I've got this and I can build everything around it, or whether actually I'm going to let it go. In the letting it go, there is a bit of discomfort, for sure. But once you've kind of gone, then that's it. You can't go back. So the significance of your week, I thought, was just amazing when you said you've got 3 responses. And it was just like, yes, because that's when you've been going through and almost like going, and just vomiting this garbage up. And then you go, right, I'm done. And what happens is emotionally, then you go, right, because every time you put a post up, you were going, right, done this, nobody's responded, don't care, getting out there and doing more. It's like, yes. And that was it. Your heart was engaged. You were not going to give that up for anybody. And then suddenly you get 3 responses. Now that is when life goes, all right, then. That's when that happens. Now here's the weird thing. So I didn't tell Carl about this. I didn't tell Carl what the subject was. And I then was saying, okay, right. So what I want to talk about is, and he said, actually, before you talk about that, just need to say something. So it's all right, go on then. This is live stream, right? So he's saying, it's just really weird. Because I was doing a whole lot of stuff on LinkedIn for our event. I wasn't getting any responses. And now all of a sudden, I've got people who are not only going, oh, right, yeah, fantastic. Could you tell me more about this? Because this sounds really interesting. So I said, when did that happen? When did that start happening? So he said, well, when you sent me an email. So I sent Carl an email about 3 weeks ago because he kept on saying, I'm so excited about getting involved with this and blah, blah, blah. And then he said, but I can't be contacted in the morning because I'm busy doing this. And then I can't do that. And then blah, 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 blah. And it would take us 5 days to have a conversation that I wanted to have then. So I sent him an email saying, listen, need to tell you something. I'm frustrated because on the one hand, you're saying you're really excited. This is absolutely the thing you've been waiting for, blah, blah, blah. But on the other hand, you're not giving any space for it. We're not having any time. We need to be having consistent conversations. We need to be generating this energy. And with regards to this, all the time, something else is taking preference. And I'm pissed off. And I'm pissed off because I really want to do this. Oh, I do beg your pardon, Lynn's son. I'm slightly annoyed. So, because I really want to do this. So you need to make up your mind whether this is going to be the priority or whether everything else is. Because if everything else is, that's fine, but I'm not going to wait. And he said, and when you sent me that, I just went, bang, this is fantastic. Let's do it. And as soon as that happened, that's when people started to communicate. Mm-hmm. And that's this whole thing about commitment. It's like, what are you committed to? What is your intention? And when you get it, the whole universe just goes, all right, fantastic. You passed the test. We believe you. Here you go. And that's the distinction. It's absolutely true. But it's when you have to go through that process that you've gone through and just go, no, I'm going to keep on going. Don't care. And then suddenly, bang. And that's why that was so amazing.
No, brilliant. Another one I was going to highlight, Lynn, your input onto DLT and everything, the whole way you're really passionate about it. You had amazing input with Carl and everything. And I've seen your posts about it since, which have been phenomenal. Let me ask you, before this, would you have even had the confidence to just grab that by the horns and pick it up and go with it?
No, probably not. It's like the other day, Martin asked to kind of speak to me about it, and I think even weeks ago, I would have said, no, just going to call Carol. There's no point in speaking to me. I don't know anything. Whereas I answered these questions. There was only one I didn't know the answer to, which I asked Paul, which he had sorted out. But I said to Martin, do you know, I don't actually know the answer to that one, but I do actually want to know. So we need to find that out. But yeah, it was that kind of way of actually had confidence in saying, well, do you know, I actually know how to do this. I know how to work it. And I know how to talk about it. I knew what I needed. I knew what I needed it to be. I knew when I made the list, and I said to you on the call that night, see if the people using this do everything in these boxes every day. Press team's happening. There's no way it can't.
It's true. It's true.
And that I would say is the biggest shift for you is actually suddenly you just you can now see Prez to.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing it's the first thing. You've got seeing it's the key.
Yeah, I've said this a few times. Press team was never the goal for me. The goal for me was always to earn more than I would have in another job. So for social work, I was thinking, well, if I earn £3,000 a month, I'd be quite happy with that. That would be ideal. And then when Paul got me to sit down and write down everything you want to earn and what you need. And when I looked into how much the house would cost, how much the cars would cost, how much debt we need to pay off, what charities I would want to give to, I soon realised, actually, I kind of need to be Press team to do all of this. Which was a bit of a, oh, right, okay. So actually that's the goal I'm going for now. And yeah, there's been a few things that's happened that I've gone, right, okay. I think I'm a bit, the night I was a bit down, but I think that might just be because I'm only just home and I'm tired. Yeah. But, and I was going to say, oh, do you know what, I'll skip the call tonight and I'll listen to I'll watch the recording, but I thought, no, I'll just get up, I'll stay. And I'm glad I did, because actually it's quite good listening to you guys tonight, because I've spent all weekend with my family and there's so many bits that were said here niggly, and I'm like, oh, your attitude fucked me. They're so negative and they're so moany and they're so whereas I would have just been right there along with them, which is
good for you. Those are the kind of distinctions that absolutely, you know, show how you're taking care of your mindset. You know, the fact that you're then aware of that, the fact that you go, oof, I've got this choice, the fact that you came on tonight rather than just go, I'll watch it tomorrow and blah, blah, blah. These are all really significant. These are not little things. And I think I told you guys about Tim Henman needing to spit more. Did I tell you that? So, Michelle, you're looking confused. Do you remember? Okay, well, Tim Henman was interviewed. I stopped watching Tim Henman because, you know, he's a very nice, white, middle-class Englishman, you know, AKA boring as hell, right? So you know that he'd get to the semi-final, possibly, and you know that he'd get beaten. And he was on a sports program and was being interviewed, and they had John McEnroe there. And the interviewer said to John McEnroe, what advice would you give to Tim Henman? And he said he needs to learn how to spit. And the point being, it's just about really just, you know, getting that engagement. And you look at Andy Murray and it's like, you know, there's your guy. And this is the thing. It's interesting. So with regards to Lynn, it's like what I'm waiting is that dial of frustration. Just turn up that little twig. So she just goes, wah! And those indications when you see your family and just go, you know, it's just like, that's one of the key indicators. And it's really, really exciting. Frustration is such a useful emotion. Without it, the temperature doesn't rise. It then doesn't get you to the point where you just go, oh, because you then lose patience with all the stuff that's holding you back. Great. Okay. This is amazing. This is actually, we've gone, you know, kind of over the hour, which I wasn't expecting. So,
David Bevan, just quickly, David Bevan used to use a statement. I loved it. It was water at 99 degrees makes a lovely cup of tea. Turn it up 1 degree and you can power a city with it. Right? And just if you think of that with your action, just ramp up a wee touch. Bang.
Good. All right, guys. Listen,
okay.
Call me this week. Any of you to start? Julie, I know we're talking tomorrow. I think.
Yeah.
Elaine, we need to book a time. I'm coming for you, Elaine. So yeah, any of you guys get stuck, come on, give me a call.
I think Elaine's swearing in her head right now.
Yeah.
Really sure of it.
Elaine, that one.
All right, that's it. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Night night.
Night. Bye.
See you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.